follow up on Angel and like the defensive rebounding. Like, I feel like she's made an adjustment in the last couple of games. And like the reason I ask that is because like it feels like at the start of the season, her defensive rebounding numbers were a little bit down from last season. And the last few games like completely topped out. So I didn't know if you had seen like an adjustment from her. Or that's just the numbers bouncing.
Yeah, I think that she has made more of an effort to crash the defensive glass, but I also think that early on in the season there weren't as many to be had because teams were shooting such a high percentage against us. And so I think we've done a little bit better job of that the last couple of games, which has allowed more opportunities for defensive rebounds. But she certainly has been more persistent in going to attack those.
That makes sense. I forgot to think about the shooting percentage thing. And then, like, I was talking to Kate Martin, and I feel like talking to any of your players who are more present, like, they talk about your calm and your patience. And I know that that's, like, always going to be something about you. But do you feel like you've also maybe wanted to or had to, like, evolve that a little bit? And part of why I ask is a lot of players talked about, I think, after the Phoenix game, you guys, as a coaching staff, like, got into them a little bit. And it seems like they all liked or they responded well to that. I'm just curious how you feel like if you're evolving that at all.
Yeah, I think that, patience is and kind of calm is just part of who I am. And so that part doesn't change, but I think that our players understanding the level of urgency that's needed throughout this season, particularly now when you're going through those ups and downs. I think that's extremely important, and they got to feel that from me and our staff as much as each other. So it's elevated that, but and I also want I also feel like that that kind of even keel presence a little bit has been able to help us manage these up and downs as well. When there's areas early in the season that we probably could have just cashed it in, and we kept fighting and we keep fighting, and expect us to continue to do so moving forward.
I want to get your thoughts on how you feel the team is getting to their second actions. Obviously, there's times the teams are taking away what you guys are trying to do initially. Just how are you feeling like you guys are progressing there?
Good. I think that our spacing has been really good the last few games, and even in moments where we've been stagnant, like we've had the right spacing, we just got to continue the movement aspect of it. And so there's a lot of moving parts to our offense, and what it looks like when it's clicking and what it looks like when it doesn't. And movement and spacing are two big components of it. So I do feel like we're getting better at finding that space and playing off of each other, and some of that is just understanding each other's tendencies and where they're going to be, and so it's been about finding the balance of freedom and structure, and where kind of that middle ground is for who we want to be and who we are right now.
And then how do you feel that you and the staff have handled managing like recovery for the players? I mean,
practices have been fine. Our treatment schedule has been pretty consistent, and we managed it a little bit in the back-to-back in the Phoenix and Atlanta game, and then we're pretty much smooth sailing moving forward.
You and Natalie talk about, like, obviously the style of play that you did in Vegas kind of like transformed the league, but neither of you can necessarily just copycat that.
Sure.
In your new roles, you have different rosters, and Natalie was just saying how you're very creative and like your imagination. And so what do you feel like, how do you feel like you've been able to adjust with this new roster to bring out their strengths in a way that's like completely different from what you did in Vegas?
Yeah, I think it's been a process and continues to be a process. There's a lot of things that I'd like to do that have been able to transfer over, and a lot of things that want to evolve into eventually. That a lot of that is just growth and maturity as a team and as individual players. And I think that you've seen some of the versatility in terms of, especially with Angel, and what she's able to do within our offense and what it would look like. And I think some of that is just growing pains. I think that it's gonna. You got to go through the mud a little bit first before you can kind of get to what it's supposed to be. But to your earlier question of having that patience kind of for things like that to evolve, not just for me but for our players, is incredibly important, because I think the finished product will be something great to see.
But you do think like Angel's kind of a prime example of like the creativity? Okay,
yes, for sure.
I just wanted to make sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, thanks.